Chapter 158. Why are you the one to make that judgment? Interrupting mid-sentence, the gaze of Crown Prince Castian appeared serenely calm on the surface, yet held a chilly depth. Did I ever say you could? No, Your Highness. I have known all along that you listen more to Duke Diarca's words than mine, but I didn't realize you were foolish enough to think your opinion superior to your master's. Listening to the Crown Prince's low, murmuring words, a chill ran down the spine of the servant. The Crown Prince's face betrayed no anger. No, Your Highness, you misunderstand. I exist to serve you and only you. Why would you say such a thing? Is that so? Then, are you saying your actions of dealing with matters without informing me, who had issued the command, is merely a misunderstanding and not a sign of your disregard for me? Absolutely not. From the moment you first entered the palace, I have faithfully stood by your side. Please don't doubt my loyalty. Hearing the servant's words, Castian was silent for a while. This was the first time the servant had encountered such a situation since serving the Crown Prince, causing him to feel rather flustered. The majority of those serving Castian was appointed by Duke Diarca, but until now that fact had never been a problem. The Crown Prince, a calm and insightful boy, had always respected the opinion of Duke Diarca, who had placed him in his current position. He had never significantly rebelled against the Duke's words. But what could have prompted him to speak this way now? Could it be because of the discomfort he felt throughout the festival period? Duke Diarca had confidently expected to land a blow on Duke Paleta and his cavalry during the festival, but he had not succeeded even once until this day. This failure had created an awkward tension between the Duke and the Prince for the first time, which in turn had led to the presence of their only third child and Keol at today's party. It was enough for the still young Crown Prince to grow discontent with the capabilities of the Diarca household and decide to take matters into his own hands. If His Highness intends to draw a line and warn Duke Diarca, how should I report this matter to the Duke? As if reading the flurry of thoughts racing through the startled servant's mind, Prince Castian remained silent for a long while. Only when beads of cold sweat began to stream down the servant's bowed back did the prince finally respond in his usual tone. I will let this one slide. Thank you, Your Highness. Act as befits your station and spare me your unnecessary thoughts. Do not give me a reason to doubt you. Of course, Your Highness. I promise I won't repeat such a foolish mistake. Good. After seeing this, Crown Prince Castian changed his atmosphere and issued a new command. Reduce the personnel searching for the assassin to a minimum and focus on pursuing Duke Paleta. He had abruptly slipped away. He must have an objective. Yes, Your Highness. And the man I asked Duke Diarca to look into after the parade incident on the first day of the festival, I didn't see him today. My apologies, Your Highness. Could you clarify who you mean? The cavalry member who took care of the assassin in place of Duke Paleta. Ah, yes, I remember now. Though he had spoken, the events of that day remained a faint memory in the servant's mind. There was indeed a cavalry member who Prince Castian had abruptly ordered to be investigated, immediately following the shocking event when the assassins, ambitiously prepared by Duke Diarca, all failed miserably. However, Duke Diarca did not take Castian's words too seriously, acknowledging them superficially and subsequently conducting no investigation. Prince Castian also remained silent, and it was thought that he had forgotten about it due to the increasing tension with Duke Diarca. But apparently this was not the case. If the entire cavalry had arrived today, he surely would have come as well. Was anyone missing? Everyone is accounted for, as far as I'm aware. Prince Kashtian turned his gaze around, scanning the various clusters of people scattered throughout. There were the cavalry members, all dressed in identical white formal attire. I could have misremembered his face. It was such a brief encounter, but I can't help but be concerned. I was rather curious to see him again today. Pardon? Upon hearing the servant's confused murmuring, a trace of annoyance flickered across Kashtian's face. That's enough. Go ahead and start the task I have ordered immediately. Understood. With a hint of fear that the prince might detain him again to say something, the servant hastily retreated as if his tail was on fire. Left alone, Prince Kashtian calmly returned to the other nobles and took a seat next to the fatigued empress. Although she was pretending otherwise, he could feel the empress' discomfort towards him, but he could easily ignore such minor irritations. She will have nowhere to go once the emperor dies soon. Despite being part of the most prestigious imperial family of the Ore Empire, both the empress, infamous for her weak blood as a lowborn from the Herne Duchy, and Prince Kashtian, an adoptive child brought up from the Diarca family, were like outsiders brought in from elsewhere. As the childless empress, rendered so by the barren emperor, he could well imagine the anxiety she must feel every time she saw him. That's why Kashtian felt a minor sense of relief whenever he looked at her. Always appearing alone in the official ceremonies on behalf of the emperor, then retiring, the empress was like a living proof of Kashtian's bright future. Your Highness, the Crown Prince, you have arrived. Facing the nobles feigning concern about his near assassination, the young Crown Prince offered a gentle smile. Commander? Meanwhile, Gakane, who had been unable to enter the hall and was catching his breath, suddenly saw the towering figure stepping out and hastily rose to his feet. The tall Kishir, who had been striding along, has numerous jewels clashing and ringing, stormed in his traces upon seeing Gakane. The eerie feeling he had earlier tried to resurface at the sight of Kishir, but Gakane forcefully swallowed it down. At first glance, Kishir did not look much different than usual. Commander, where are you heading to? You're the one to talk. Why are you here all alone? I am... Struggling to find the right words, Gakane finally remembered the letter from Lenore tucked away in his possession and quickly pulled it out. I was feeling a bit stifled, so I stepped outside for a moment and received this. A letter, you say? The deceased Lenoshan Apeto had left it to a servant, saying he wished to entrust it to the Prince Revlin. After the servant delivered it and requested protection, I provisionally agreed and received it. Usually, Kishir would have responded immediately, but he merely looked at the piece of paper without saying a word. Commander? Upon hearing Gakane's cautious call, Kishir took a deep breath and closed his eyes, then opened them again. Be careful with that letter. It has a bad odor. Pardon? When you return, send it directly to my office. Also, if you return to the hall, could you find Everbeck or Stiber Randley and ask them to oversee the cavalry's return on my behalf? Oversee the return? Then, Commander, I need to dine with His Majesty, the Emperor, today, but so I may stay a bit longer. I had previously arranged this, so the assistant and the deputy commanders are already informed. Just relay my message, and they will handle it. Don't worry. Understood? Before Gakane knew it, Kishir was back to his impeccable commander-like demeanor, as if his earlier strange behavior was a lie. Normally, I should personally order the return, but now an unexpected matter has arisen. An unexpected matter, you say? Could you handle it for me? Instead of answering the question, Kishir issued an order, Gakane was slightly worried, but he nodded in response. Certainly. Then, Commander, do you send all the troops back without leaving anyone to accompany you? No. Kishir, who had turned around again, gave a curt reply and looked somewhere. Following his gaze, Gakane saw a few groups of soldiers walking beyond the corridor. Judging by their scanning of the surroundings, it seemed they were investigating the death of Lenore. Watching them quickly, Kishir opened his mouth in a low voice. Assistant Ydir Ale will stay, don't worry. Upon hearing Ydir's name, Gakane recalled that he had not seen him in the party hall for a while. Did the commander send him on an errand beforehand? Then I will leave it to you. As soon as Kishir finished his last words, he immediately turned around and disappeared. Only after his figure had disappeared to the end of the corridor did Gakane realize that the strange atmosphere he felt from Kishir was. Ah, I see. It was anxiety. Kishir, unlike his usual self, had briefly revealed a hint of restlessness.